Hello, I'm Nick Coleman.
And I'm Graham Skaggs.
And welcome to the Masters of the Brandiverse.
Masters of the Brandiverse is a marketing podcast dedicated to bringing you the best marketing advice to business owners.
So you've decided to start creating regular video content for your business. But how do you pick the right people to do it? Well, in this episode, I'll be speaking to Graham Skaggs, our video content extraordinaire, where he'll be giving us his top 5 questions that you should ask any video production company that you're talking to about producing your video content.
Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel.
And if you like what you hear, leave us a comment below.
Well, hey, thanks for coming on the show.
Hey, Graham.
Yeah, I hope everybody's been having a good week out there. It's been pretty rough on our end, really busy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, always.
A lot of last minute projects.
Dude, okay, so I have to ask this. Each time we do one of these shows, you always pop open your laptop, and I can't see it from over here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so I'm super curious. So what is it that you're always doing over there?
Oh, just notes, just sort of like our major talking points for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just so I don't miss anything.
Okay. Does it ever like get in the way when you're talking? Do you like have to like look at it like?
No, not really. I mean, following like the news here too, just have it running in the background just so if anything drops, it's fresh right here, hot.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I hate to say it, I almost like just freestyle.
Yeah.
I just come in here, I have an idea that I want to talk about, and then I just naturally let it just come out.
Yeah, I think it's more about it makes me feel comfortable knowing that if I forget or if I get uncomfortable or nervous, it's right there. But yeah, the flow is definitely your style, man, and I like it. It inspires me. So,
hey, I mean, but it can also backfire because then I can have that like dead space where it's just like,
we're gonna talk about empty.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I'm really excited about this topic because you know what? It's in your wheelhouse. I mean, this is what you specialize in.
Yep.
So today, we're going to sit and just kind of talk about like if you're looking for an agency to help you with your marketing, what are 5 really good questions to ask them to make sure that you're hiring the right agency to do your video marketing.
Yeah.
So, Graham, so why don't you kick us off, man? What would be,
sure.
If you walked in as a brand new no, I shouldn't even say brand new business, but you're brand new to video marketing as being a part of your marketing strategy, right? And you know what, I need to start doing commercials, or I want to add a video onto my website, however it is that you're going to use it. You've come to that place in your business where you know that this can possibly take your business to the next level in terms of generating more revenue. Because at the end of the day, that's really what it's all about, right? So anytime you do any type of marketing, it's always about, can this drive more revenue for our business? So now you're at that point, you walk into an agency. What would be the first thing that you would ask somebody? Yeah,
and that's a great question. So real quick, just to give some like history to video, the world of videography changed in the world around like 2006, 2007, when we saw like DSLRs jump on the scene. I think our first DSLR was the 5D that was capable of shooting video. And so really like before like our current sort of online social marketing age, you pretty much went to a video production company for all of your production needs. And the structure was pretty established, and in some ways the video production industry had become really stale, right? There was really just one way to do things and one sort of established process. Whereas when you saw like, the emergence of the DSLR filmmaker, now you have thousands of other options. You don't just have to go to a production company.
Do you think that makes it more complicated?
Yeah, it does. Well, for starters, it puts more responsibility in the hands of the business owner because now, like we're talking about, you have to know what to ask and you have to know what to look for. And it's complicated, right? It's hard. I mean, even when you know video, it can be a complicated thing to understand. And so usually, I guess the first thing I would say is when you're talking to an agency or a videographer, the first question I would ask is, what's your production process? Tell me step by step how we're going to create a video.
That's interesting. So you just want to walk in and say, how are you going to make me a video?
Yes. And,
That's interesting.
And get detailed. Tell me the steps you're going to take because, so it depends on what your video needs are. But, for us, like if you were to work with our company, We have a pretty comprehensive pre-production process. We like to, first of all, get to the heart of your why, understand what makes your business tick, make you understand what makes you unique in your industry, and then we like to do research around your target. We want to make content that resonates with your target audience. And there's a lot of work that goes into that. And I think that if you go into a production house and they're immediately jumping to strategies and tactics first without really knowing who you are, that might be a red flag because they don't know who you are. They're not going to know who you are like during the first like 5 minutes they meet you.
Right. So you can automatically say that if that's their technique, then they just work off of assumptions.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, and that's really the most dangerous thing that any marketer could do is work off assumptions.
That, or they only have one style of filmmaking or video production.
Why is that a problem to have one style?
So, well, I mean, for starters, audiences are unique. And, there are some people who like to watch like 2-minute videos on Facebook and some people who like to watch like 30-minute videos on YouTube.
Okay. Can you give us an example of like a specific case where you have two different audiences and you have to use like what you're talking about, having a 2-minute video on Facebook compared to maybe a 30-minute video on YouTube?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so this is kind of timely actually because I've been meal prepping more.
That's right. That's right.
So before the week starts on Sunday.
How's that going for you?
Really well right now, actually, and saves a lot of money. Which has been great. Typically, I make all my food on a Sunday, and I have found a YouTube channel called Flav City, and it rocks. It's great recipes, full of flavor, and you're meal prepping for the whole week. It's been awesome. So, but the thing is, like, his videos are about 12 to 14 minutes long, right? So if you look at like me, I like to make flavorful recipes, but I'm also not like a hobbyist chef. I don't cook in my free time very often. That 12-minute range is perfect for me because it's long enough to make a quality meal, but not so long that I'm like, spending several hours working on it. So it goes down to your target client. Are you making videos for moms who are in a hurry with a full schedule and several kids who only has 2 minutes and it's probably only on Facebook? Make 2-minute videos for, maybe busy moms. Are you making videos for the hobbyist chef who actually cares about taste? Make the 30-minute video for YouTube. They're going to give it the time. They're going to want it, It's understanding your audience and what they need and what they want.
Yeah, that's really good. It sounds a lot like military where you have to do your recon first in order to be able to do like a successful mission.
Yeah, explain that to me. I don't know what a recon is.
So it's like, you have to go and you have to scout the area. You have like, say if you're a sniper, you just can't go in and just go right after your target. You have to understand their behaviors. You got to understand where they go each day, what time they go, what their normal routine is, who's with them before you can actually execute your game plan. So it's the same thing here, right? So if I'm going to go out and I have a video, I first have to totally understand who that customer is. I got to understand their behavior. So like in your case, hey, I'm making a video about making flavorful food. That's real quick. Well, I understand that I'm going to have a guy who's a professional, who's on the go, that does not have time to sit and watch a 30-minute video, and it has to plan out their day each and every single day because their days are so jam-packed and a day can just get by them, right?
Yeah.
And then I also understand their age. I understand that this man is going to be probably 25 to 35 with no kids, maybe even just one kid, right? So I understand that, and the only way to do that is by having a process where you're asking questions to really figure out exactly who that target audience is.
Right.
So then if that video production is going to make that video, they're going to create a message that's highly targeted.
Right. Yeah. And it'll resonate. Right. It's also about connecting the why with the audience too.
Yeah.
Because if you're a chef and you love to teach and cook, that's like the perfect combination for long form YouTube videos, right? Because then you can go deep and you can teach, right? But if you're trying to help the busy mom or dad who doesn't have time to cook, that why is different because it's coming from a place of understanding and compassion, right? And that's a different why, right? It's like one's about taste and one is about convenience, and you either want to make the world an easier world or maybe you want to make it richer, right? Which one is your why? Both are great. You can choose, but you have to know what that why is before you make your content. And so if your videographer or production company is assuming what your why is instead of going deep and understanding that with you, they might not make content that really resonates.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's like anything. I really like that question, why, because we all do it. Like, why should I care about what you have to say? I mean, it starts even from when we're little kids, where your kids are looking at you and they're looking at you like, why should I follow that rule? Why should I do what you say, Dad or Mom?
Yeah, well.
Right? Why should I go to bed at this time? Right? Everything that a child does, and this really comes innate in all of us, because this is how we started. We were kids at one point, and everything always boiled down to that one question: why?
Yeah. Because it's also creating value and the level of importance, right? So if something has a more defined why, it also comes with more motivation to do it because there's more reason to do it, right? Without that deeper why, you might not have a compelling reason to spend more time, right? So, for example, if you don't have a why and you're a chef and you like to cook but you don't like to teach, and then you start making 30-minute videos, one, you're going to get frustrated. You're not going to be the best host. You're going to be tired. So the content's not going to hit your audience.
That's right.
So that's actually, it's interesting because the reason it won't resonate with your audience is because you're not in touch with your why.
Ooh, say that again. That's a good one.
The reason why it won't resonate with your audience is because you're not in touch with your why. So it's a deeper reason to know why you do what you do, and to not we talk about this too, is we provide custom solutions for our customer problems, because we're not going to do the cookie cutter thing. I mean, okay, so I'm going to rant a little bit here. The one thing that drives me crazy about young YouTube creators is that they use the same gimmicks over and over and over and over and over again, and because they're somehow trendy and on Instagram, suddenly that makes them like an expert. No, not really. Like, because once you try to take them outside of that box, they don't know how to like perform.
What is it? So say if I was look at the other side. So there's that argument out there that if you get good at one thing, stick with it.
Oh, sure. I mean, that's a race to the bottom. Because there's always going to be some other guy who can do it free or cheaper than you, and that's totally what's happening right now. You know, one of the reasons why I chose to be a part of a marketing company is because offering video marketing solutions is so much better than offering just videos. As a one-man team,
that's right,
trying to shoot videos for clients, I just didn't have the resources to do what I wanted, and I also didn't want to get caught in the race to the bottom. Like, kids were coming out of school, they're willing to shoot that first project for free to get in front of people. And yeah, I mean, now it's crazy. Like, there's a production company down the road that's shooting videos for like maybe $4,000, and they're using like a red weapon, 8K camera with, you know, really high quality lens. It's like that's crazy to me. Why you would ever shoot on a camera like that for less than $10,000 or $20,000? I just don't comprehend it. You know,
I think everything that you're saying is so spot on, and it really boils down to, will that agency listen to you? Because if you have one set way to always do stuff, you automatically have to close off your ears. You have to, because you have this one solution, this one tactic or strategy that you're always implementing. So no matter what that customer is saying, you're going to do the same thing. And the reality is that every single business is different, even if it's within the same industry, because what it always boils down to is what makes your company so different than everybody else. Why should someone be loyal to your brand at the end of the day instead of going down the street to somebody who has the same service as you do? So when you come in to an agency and you're asking them, what is your process? What you're really finding out, will that agency actually be invested into your success? And the only way they're going to be invested in your success is if they slow down and take the time to listen to you. And the best way to listen is by asking those questions. And it's a part of that process. So I love that. That's where you first started, is what is your process, right? How do you find out my why? And that's going to tell you right off the bat, if that agency does not want to listen to you, they're going to be terrible to work with. Because the reality is that every single time that you have something that's going to be really, I should say not something, but where you're wanting to do something for your business, or you have a direction that you want to go for your business or for your marketing, if that agency is unwilling to listen to you, then you're always going to be hitting your head against the wall. Like, why won't they ever do anything that I'm ever asking? Why are they not hearing? They're not hearing me, right? So I love that. So after you ask this first question, what would be the second question that you would ask?
My second question would be, how will you find our target audience?
Ooh, can you define so just for people out there who might not understand what a target audience is, can you define that?
Yeah, it's deciding who's going to be the few and not the many. It's choosing not to market to the masses, but to a niche. It's asking not, will everybody buy my product, but what 50 people will buy my product in this market, and how do I find them?
You're bringing up a really controversial thing here, because I'm pretty sure a business owner right now is saying, well, why do I want to just go to 50 people? I want everybody to buy my product.
Right. Well, because the 50 people are going to be fans, and then they're going to tell all their friends, right? I mean, it's like, why do some people buy records and some people buy CDs, or some people use, iTunes or whatever? Like, there's, maybe, I have no idea what the stats are, but I'm going to make it up. Let's say that like 10-20% of the market buys records, right? Well, if you are a distributor for a record company, or if you design and create beautiful record players, you want to find the fans, the people who love records, who love that warm, fuzzy feeling that they get when they listen to a record. They don't want to advertise to the person who wants to find the cheapest music option. They want to find the person willing to spend a good amount of money on the best record player, that will give them that experience, That's a poor example. There's much better ones, because niche markets are really the future. I mean, it's finding very, very specific solutions for people. And it's not always the case, but,
But if you're a business owner, and I hear niche, I think small, right? And so it's like, well, why do I want my business to be small? Why do I just want to just go after one person when I can go after everyone?
Right,
What is the advantages of being highly targeted with who you're going after?
Yeah, well, even in bigger markets, they're still hitting a small niche demographic, well, quote unquote niche demographic. Like Walmart, they're trying to advertise to everybody, but they're really advertising to people who are trying to save money, and who prioritize bargain over quality, or they're looking for perceived quality for a bargain, right? So, yeah, for their target client, I think they're doing great, right? But if you want to get, food that is sourced ethically, or food that's a very high quality, like you want grass-fed beef,
that's not going to be the place. That's for sure.
Yeah, right. And if you're like a corporation like, Whole Foods, you want to pull in the customer who wants their beef that was pasture raised, and that's hormone free and organic and all that kind of stuff, because you care. And so it's really about identifying what your target cares about, you care about.
That's right, because then you can create a message around that target audience.
Right.
And so if you could create that message around that target audience, then it's going to resonate with them, and they'll be more likely to buy from you compared to buying from somebody else.
Yeah. Fashion's another good one too, because fewer things are more subjective than fashion, but it's something that we all care about, right?
True.
And some people are willing to spend a lot more and have much more particular taste. And for them, fashion is not about buying a product. It's about buying a community and being a member of a small community of people who get you and understand you, And I'm not quick to bash fashion, because these guys really care about it, and they see a lot of meaning and value in it. And when
I love fashion myself.
Yeah. I mean, it's they look at the world through a very particular lens of quality that it's really cool.
I liked your analogy, or I like that you use fashion, because you're absolutely right. In fashion, people wear a certain type of clothes because it makes them feel a certain way. And so if you have certain targeted audiences, there's certain things that one person wants to feel that another person may not want to feel. So say for example, someone might just really love wearing shirts and a t-shirt because they like always feeling relaxed, comfortable, chill. I don't want to feel stressed about anything in my life. Where somebody else may just love to wear the finest shirt, the finest slacks, or the finest shoes, or the most expensive, because they like to feel powerful, or they like to feel like on top of the world. And so when you're marketing to somebody, you can't market to somebody who wants to wear t-shirts and shorts like a luxury item, because that message won't resonate with them. Right? But somebody who wants to feel, you know, that type of lifestyle, or that type of feeling of being in that type of world, then you need to market your message around luxury to them, right? So now that you've identified if that target audience for them, so you've gone through your process, you have the target audience, what would be the third question you ask?
My third question would be, got it written down right here. Oh, okay, yeah. How will you create content that resonates with our target audience? Yeah.
So what's the difference between identifying the target audience and then creating a message that's going after them?
This is a good question, because I think it will have some overlap with you in terms of messaging, which you have a fair amount of experience in creating messaging for ads and stuff like that. But it's sort of like understanding, you know, one, what's our special value proposition that makes us unique from other competitors? And then two, how can we present that proposition in a way that will have an impact on our audience, that will, oh wow, that they'll notice it, they'll take notice of it. So yeah.
So what it is like you're finding that pain point. What is it that target audience is going through? So like, say for example, if I'm a working mom and I am looking for a daycare center to watch my kid, well, one of my pain points is that I need to be at work at a certain time. So do you offer early hours for me to be able to drop my kid off? So maybe I need to be at work at 7. Is your place open at 6 o'clock so I could drop my kid off? That's a pain point. If you're unable to do that, then I got to go find somebody else that's able to come and watch my kid that early, right? Or can you do additional hours? Maybe sometimes I have a job that's unconventional. It's not 8 hours. Sometimes it's going to be 10 hours. Can I keep my kid there for an extended period of time, right? So you have to create a message that's really going after whatever that pain point is for that audience that you really, it's like we talked about. What are you solving for them? So that's another way to say pain point. They have a problem and your product can solve that problem for them.
Yeah. I was thinking about other analogies. Like if you're a designer, what makes you different than the mass of people is, for most people, any pen will do. Give me a ballpoint pen and that works. A designer is going to ask, what's the thickness of the pen? Is it going to be blotchy? How long can I use it before it runs out? Those are questions a designer is going to be thinking about. And so if you're creating a commercial or a TV ad that's aimed at that audience, you want to let them know what makes your product different. Ballpoint pens can get splotchy and they're unreliable, but this pen, it's very reliable. It has different line thicknesses that customizes to whatever project you're working on. That's going to speak to your client. And then you can even go farther and say, what's the taste of your designer? Do they like modern work? Are they into lots of handcrafty stuff? Are they more into, script and writing by hand and doing hand lettering? Because then you can design a pen for each specific one. This is for our modern designer who likes to use, sans serif kind of typefaces, whatever. Right? So it's just understanding your target,
Yeah, and I love it. And each thing with that pen, it solved their problem. Because each thing that was going to be a problem, I need a certain thickness, I need a certain color, I need this, I need that. Can that pen do all that? And you're like, yeah, of course that pen can do all of that. But how will they know this? How would a client, or I say, how would their customer know that your pen can do this? And that's where the messaging comes in.
Right. And so if you're a videographer or a video production company, for your higher budget projects, they'll be willing to do some market research and they'll be willing to honestly speak with that person. If you're, creating pens, they'll probably do some surveys amongst designers to find out what kind of pen they want or what features they're looking for that they think is valuable. Now, not every project is going to have the kind of latitude to do that kind of work, but if you can afford it, there's no such thing as too much market research, in my opinion. Like you can always afford to learn more.
Yeah, and I like that you brought that up, because price seems to be a hindrance for people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, you do get what you pay for, right?
Yeah.
And even though you are buying these videos, it's still an investment. At the end of the day, you want to get a good return on your investment, so you have to make sure that you're investing with the right people, and you also have to be willing to put a lot into investing, because creating a video where somebody's getting that target messaging, got it dialed in, you're gonna get good returns on it. Because like what you're talking about, if they did the right surveys, they asked the right questions, now they're creating the message around your target audience. So when you play that video, whether it's on a commercial, whether it's on social media, wherever channel you decide to put that video on, that message that you created is going to hit your target audience, and they're going to be more likely to buy from you. And at the end of the day, it's all about improving your conversion rate. So if you know that, well, if I create this type of messaging, well, I'm going to be able to improve my conversion rate. So we'll say like maybe from 5% to 7%. If you do that, you increase from 5 to 7%, that's a 30% growth for your business. So messaging is really critical.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So you've asked those 3 questions right when you go to another agency. What would be the 4th question you ask?
Okay, our 4th question today is we're actually kind of going ahead and answering some of these questions without trying. But how do you do market research? What is your market research process that you're using?
This is a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
And that's to find out the difference between someone who'll spend 5 minutes sort of dicking around the internet versus someone who's like doing surveys and doing research, right? Yeah. So for example, if you're working with us and you have an adequate budget, we'll create surveys and do lots of surveys to find out more about your target client.
Why are surveys important?
Well, surveys usually within a company, a brand is saying things about their own brand. When really a brand is what other people say about
That's
you.
right. That's right.
Nike is what people say about Nike,
That's
not what
right.
Nike says about itself.
That's right.
And
many people get this confused because they feel like they understand their brand better than anybody else. They know what's best. And what they feel or think about their brand may not be what their audience thinks about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
That can create a huge disconnect. I mean, like, unfortunately, with smaller businesses, it happens all the time. They're just so disconnected from who their client base is, and it's very easy to do.
Say if you're a company and you can't afford to hire an agency to do a survey. What can be just like one quick way, cost efficient, that a business can get a survey out?
Yeah, well, if you have an email list, you can very easily and quickly create a survey through SurveyMonkey. We've used it. It's great. And it's very simple. It gives you a link and you can send out an email to get surveys back. I mean, or you can do the old-fashioned thing, which is to just talk to your customers.
That's a good one.
If you perform a service, just ask them, how was the experience? Is there something we could have done better? Just creating that sort of mentality in your culture. So
like, for example, just a real simple question is, what would be one thing that we can have done to make your experience better today?
Yeah.
Right? You don't have to make these like overcomplicated. Just real simple. And you know what? I really like your idea of just talking to the customers, because it's so old-fashioned, but people love it. They love that you took time out of your day to call them to find out exactly what their experience of your brand was. And you know what?
Yeah.
You can end up actually creating some loyal customers just by doing this.
And people love to talk about their experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially like, well, you having a rough week? Tell me about it. Oh man, you have no idea. It's been so crazy. I'm overwhelmed. I've got like my car broke down yesterday. It's just like people like to talk and vent, and when you give people that opportunity, I mean, for some people, if you're a busy corporate executive, I'm sure that no, I'm busy. Bye. But for the most part, people enjoy to talk. And be heard.
Is surveys the only way to be able to get this type of research?
Not necessarily. I mean, like for example, with any kind of like let's say you're a logo designer, like the way you're going to design a logo is by understanding the visual landscape you're creating in. And for you, it's just having a very, very deep acquaintance with the competition. And that can give you a really great perspective too. Like if you're, let me think here. If you're a furniture company, simply knowing what all the furniture stores are doing can give you perspective, because each furniture company will have a brand, and if they're good, they will have a target client, and you can start to figure out, well, okay, this furniture company is really trying to target millennials, but maybe our Gen X is being neglected in this brand, and that's maybe a target we want to hit. We can maybe offer something unique that they can't.
That's right.
So it's a part of it too. Is, I mean, honestly, like if you're in the field of marketing, one of your jobs is to constantly be surveying the landscape, looking for what brands are doing well and excelling. What's the history that has led us to this point? Because everything we do is a part of a long, long, complex history. And as marketers, the more we understand about the way that branding, visuals, messaging speaks to people and the history, then the more informed our decisions can be.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. And, one of the traps that people fall into that I've noticed with some of the businesses when they look at competitors is simply to look at them and go, oh, well, let's see if we can just get some ideas from them. Let's get inspired by that other business.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
That's
not why you look at your competitors, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at your competitors. I like what you said, to see what exactly that they're not doing that you can exploit for your business and take advantage of. So if you're seeing, like what you mentioned, one of your competitors doesn't go after a particular generation, then now well, this is a market that's unsaturated. This is a market that in our area that people are not going after, that we can go ahead and hit with them with some type of messaging, and now we can exploit that, and now we can be able to get some new clients.
Yeah.
I like that. That's
really and it's like, a lot of businesses are in the race to the bottom, and they do that by being generic. Like the reason why I buy Ben & Jerry's is because they have a flavor that other ice cream companies don't offer, right?
Well, I think the risk is, it's risky.
Yeah.
Right? So it's risky to want to be different than everybody. When you see, well, everybody is doing it this way and they make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Well, if I go against the grain, I won't make any. So it's like, prime example, this is movies. Like, think about, like, in the last, I don't know, what is it, about the last 10 years?
Yeah.
Every single summer, there's so many comic book movies. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, comic book movies were few and far between, right? It was a big deal when X-Men came out. It was just like, oh my gosh, they're doing X-Men. This is insane. Like, no one's ever done X-Men. No one's ever done these type of comic books, right? And now it's literally like, bam, bam, bam. Here's another comic book person. Oh, another one.
Yep.
And it's because they have that same philosophy, right? If this works, why change it up? If everyone's going to go see Captain America, if everyone is going to go see one of these type of comic book movies, and we know when we put it out, hundreds of millions of people are going to go see it.
Yeah.
I don't want to make a movie that's an original screenplay. I don't want to take that type of chance. And you see that across the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I remember when Spider-Man came out and being kind of like mind blown at 9 years old. Holy cow! Like, this is the coolest thing ever. But when you make films on that kind of scale, there is a really high risk if it flops, because if it flops, in the hundreds of millions, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you're making smaller, that's also why genres like horror have done so well, because they're very low production cost. You cost an average of $20,000 to $40,000 a horror film, and the ones that do well do really well, right? The return on investment can be really high. Sometimes to be that indie filmmaker who shoots small budget films can actually do really well.
Yeah, like Jordan Peele.
Yeah.
He does a really good job, right? I mean, he did Us, and then what was the other movie he did?
He's been interesting because I think Get Out was big. Like, everybody liked it, but then Us and his most recent one, I can't remember the name, have been a little bit more eccentric and a little bit more weird, and it's alienated some of his audience, but they're great. I mean, I think they're great.
I think they're good too. I mean, Us was just okay compared to Get Out. But however, though, what I liked is that it still was an original screenplay. It was different, and the audience loved it because at the end of the day, he did it for a small budget. made tons of money.
Okay.
But it's like, but one of the things I want people to understand that being different is actually, it's a good thing, because if you can create a great product. So just kind of going back to what we talked about with comic book movies. Well, when Marvel came out and created these products, and I understand Fox and all these other studios was a part of that, Sony and all that. But when Marvel came out and had this really good product, there wasn't that many of these movies out there. So the minute they put out Iron Man and Robert Downey Jr. killed it, now Marvel totally corners that market.
Yeah.
Anything that they produce, for the most part, it's going to kill it. It doesn't even matter who that character is. I mean, a lot of people don't even know who Ant-Man was. They put that out. It did well. You know, and you can just, even the first one, Iron Man, it's not one of their most popular characters. And yet they totally cornered the market because they were different than everyone else. They found a part of the market.
Yeah.
They found a particular part of the market that was not being attended to. They created a message around it, and then they took that risk, and now obviously you see the success they had.
Yeah.
So it goes back into what we're talking about here, knowing who your target audience is, knowing the messaging, and then so doing the research around that, you'll be able to develop the messaging. And if that company is doing all of those things, then you, first of all, you right now you know that this is the company I want to go ahead and choose. But yet there's still one more question. So what is the fifth question you would ask?
You know, I think this is a good question for you to answer because
Oh, you're gonna put me on the spot.
I think you could answer this one pretty well. How will you get this in front of our target audience? So you walk into an agency, you ask all the questions we've been talking about, and then you say, okay, so if you're a marketing company, how is this going to get in front of the people I need this to get in front of?
See, and I think this is a good one too, because if you are working with a really good agency, then this is where they're really going to ask some questions from you. They're going to deep dive into this in order to be able to find the best places to put your video. So if an agency is right off the bat telling you, I'm going to put it on Facebook, I'm going to put it on YouTube, I'm going to put it on Instagram, you know, I would just run. Because again, they're working off of assumptions. So this is where they have to do more fact finding, right? So if they stop and say, okay, well, first tell me, how do your customers find you? Oh, well, you know what? They come through the store. Okay, well, what about the customers that don't come into your brick and mortar? Like maybe you have an online, maybe you're doing lead generation, you're doing something like that. So how do they find you online? Oh, well, you know what? They come through us organically, or we have a really great social media following. Now you're going to ask more questions. Which social media platform are you on? Which one are they coming to you on? Oh, well, they're coming through us through Facebook. Well, now I know, okay, I have a general idea of how people are finding you. Now I know from there, I know which medium to go ahead and put your type of video on. But see, here's the key though. A really good video place will not just have a channel to put it on, but a strategy on how they're going to funnel people from that video ultimately down to doing some type of conversion for you, whether that's putting in their email because you want to give them some type of email campaign, or maybe it's an e-commerce site where you want somebody to actually purchase that day. You know, every business has a different way that they funnel people as far as like that final conversion goes, but really it's at the very beginning. We have to ask real strategic questions right, in order to really find out which platform you want to put that video on.
Yeah. And that's also where working with a company like ours is honestly kind of superior to working with just a video guy, because really when you've made a video, oftentimes you're probably going to be using it in advertising in some capacity, whether that's online retail, you're creating a sales funnel, you're teaching something. So having somebody on the team who knows a lot about campaigns is going to help you create revenue. A video is not going to create revenue. Your funnel is going to create revenue, and the video is going to help with conversion on your funnel.
Yeah, or it can help drive people into your funnel.
Yeah.
Right. So again, I think that's really what it boils down to is, does that video production team have like not just a creative but a strategic person on there that can help build that funnel out for you? Because at the end of the day, when you're doing all of these marketings, especially with it being online, you have to develop some type of funnel. And if that person doesn't have a way to use that video to basically be that starting point for your funnel, or using the video to be that funnel. And so if they're not able to do those things, I would run, because you're just
Yeah.
going to waste your money. I mean, you're going to have a beautiful video. I mean, we have seen people out there. I mean, there's really, really talented people doing videos. I mean, let's just say that right now. There are extremely talented videographers out there. And yet a lot of them do not have strategy on how they're going to put that out there into your marketing efforts, or I should say ways that they're going to be able to put it on different channels that's going to be able to create a funnel for you. Because,
Yeah.
you know, the reality is most videographers don't have a funnel background. They don't know how to create funnels.
Oh, no. Yeah,
Right?
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I partnered with our team, is because I realized there's a gap in my game.
Yeah, and so you
Yeah.
have to have that. You have to have someone that can develop the funnel for you. So that way these videos are going to be extremely effective. Because if you compare the two, a video with a really good funnel, well, I mean, we've seen conversion rates that are just off the charts. I mean, they just perform better, at least on average. I mean, and there's a lot of case studies on this. On average, you're going to get about a 20 to 30% increase in your conversions by using video as a part of your funnel strategy. If you don't have that, I mean, your funnel can still be effective by using text. I mean, we've seen that too.
Yeah.
And videos, though, we have seen time and time again
Yeah.
outperform pictures
Yeah.
or text.
And it goes back to our target audience, right? Because there's, depending on your target, some videos are kind of the have to. Like, that's the way your target consumes content,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's funny, too. Sometimes, you know, you have a target client or audience that wants to read lots of text. So doing long-form Facebook posts actually worked with some people.
That's right.
It's bizarre because as like a millennial, I'm like, why would you read? Like, just watch a video or whatever. But some people, that's how they vibe. So it's like you want to know that stuff before you make it.
I mean, that's interesting you say that. I mean,
Yeah.
I see you reading all the time.
Well, yeah, it's interesting too. Like, okay, so I kind of lied.
Uh-oh.
So I'm really into psychology, right? I really like the intersection of psychology and marketing. And so if you're a marketer who has kind of a psychological understanding and you write a long post about, you know, your research into something, I might actually read it because I like to read, and I actually can read faster than I can watch a video. It's really interesting because your readers, if you have a website, some people don't want you to put a video on it because I can navigate the text in 5 seconds. The video then stalls that 5 seconds and then multiplies it by 5. Like, it's about 25 seconds to get to this point.
See, I
So
think
it's
you
like,
said something real
you know,
important there, right? What again goes back into our key questions. Knowing exactly who your audience is,
Yeah.
knowing exactly the messaging, knowing exactly where you put your video. So if I know that you're my target audience and I know, okay, well, they like long form pieces of content, well, then I'm going to have on my site a lot of long form content. I'm not going to have the videos. But then if I see that you still have that millennial aspect about you, it's like, okay, well, if I'm on my social media channel, I want to just digest videos quickly. I don't want to sit and read long form content on there. So then now I know, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put that video onto your social media. But here's the thing, because I understand that target audience, I understand how long that video needs to be. I understand the pace of how that video needs to be, right? So in that case, I know I need to just kind of get to the point real quick with what it is I'm trying to say, what it is I'm trying to message, I'm trying to put in front of you. So maybe now I'm going to put a 15-second video on Facebook with the caption next to it because I know that I understand my audience. I understand that they might be at work watching the video. They're not going to actually turn it on because they don't want everybody in the office to hear it, right? So then I'm going to understand then that now on Facebook, because that's where my consumer lives, I am now pushing them right into the top of the funnel with my video. And now I'm going to be able to use other series of videos that are going to basically push them all the way down to the final part of my funnel. So, yeah, I mean, that's really good. That's really good. If you have one pro tip, just one final pro tip that you would give to people out there that are listening about and they're considering video, what would be the one pro tip that you would give them when they go to create a video for the first time with an agency?
Maybe not so much a tip as a mentality.
Oh, okay.
I think,
Threw a curveball at me there.
yeah,
Okay.
I think be open. be open to new ideas. Be open to being challenged. Don't come in thinking you have all the answers. You know, I think that a lot of times, and this is not just for business owners, even on our end as marketers, we can go into a project thinking we know the way to do this and we have all the answers. As a business owner, you can come in thinking, oh, I know my brand. I know what I'm supposed to do. Like, a really good videographer is going to create an experience for you that helps you understand yourself sometimes for the first time in a way that you never thought you would. So one of the clients I worked with, these are the moments I live for. One of the clients I worked with recently, we had a meeting. We had pulled in some other people, and during this meeting, the client I was working for said, yeah, I've been really impressed working with Graham. He has surfaced things about my brand I never thought existed. And that was a really cool moment. Because really, a good videographer, a good agency is going to surface things about your brand or about even you and your why that you never realized was there. And then you have this newfound appreciation for who you are. But a part of that is being open and not being so, tight and so rigid about who you are and what your identity is. You might also be losing out on opportunity by saying, I can only function in this way. There's so many new markets and so many new ways to bring your product to market, that hearing the ideas and being open can introduce you to other ways to generate revenue or, promote your message or build that base of fans you've always been wanting. Right?
Yeah, I like it. So in a way, you did give a tip.
Yeah.
Be open.
Be open. Yeah.
Just be open.
Yeah.
I like that. Hey, if you really like what you hear, we would love to hear back from you. Leave us a comment, rate our show, reach out to us.
Yeah.
Love to answer your questions.
We'll be back next week with some more stuff. Thanks for watching this episode, and if you liked what you heard, like and subscribe to our channel.
And if you have any thoughts, leave us a comment below.